Hello, welcome, Law of Attraction students, people who want to change their lives, manifesting aficionados. Now, I'm Trevor Emdon, and in this video, I'm going to reveal to you the three big, huge, ginormous mistakes that Law of Attraction students make when trying to manifest. How do I know they're mistakes? Because I learned the hard way. It took me about 30 years to figure this out. So stick with me. I'm going to show you something really, really mind-blowing in this video. And I will also stay to the end because I'm going to give you a huge tip on how to turn your life around starting today. Manifesting your desires and dreams is a lot easier than you think, than probably any of us have been thinking, or most of us, for a very long time. And why I know you'll know it's working within 21 days if you'll take my challenge. So stick with me. I'm coming right back. Boom, here I am filling your screen. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the absolute Law of Attraction staple, visualization. Oh, people get so hung up on this. I have a video on YouTube that gets thousands of hits. People want to get it right and they try and get the rules right, and as if the universe actually has a system that says if you don't get this exactly right, pinpoint accuracy, I'm not going to give you what you want. It does not work that way, right? Now, let's blow this out of the water completely. What if we don't need to visualize at all and we can still manifest? Oh, hello, right? We all know that there are a lot of people who appear to manifest, or let's say have a lot of luck, however you want to conceive it, without doing any visualization at all. If you talk to them about the Law of Attraction, some of them will tell you you're talking a load of junk, right? So maybe the Law of Attraction aficionados will say, well, they're just doing it naturally. Maybe. But I don't think that what we imagine in our heads is turning into the reality that's outside of us. If that were so, we imagine stuff all the time, right? Most of us, and I think this is a survival thing, most of us default to imagining disaster. What if it all goes wrong? Now, I've talked a lot about this in other places, and I encourage my students and my clients to think about, well, what if it all goes right? Because actually most things do work out all right most of the time. But I think it's a survival thing. It seems to be cross-cultural, that as human beings, when we make a plan or when we anticipate something, we consider the risks. You know, you can imagine the hunter-gatherers, and I'm not an anthropologist, I haven't studied hunter-gatherer tribes that still exist to this day, but I imagine if they're going out on a hunt, they make sure their spears are sharp and the poisoned arrows are well tipped with the poison or whatever it is, and that they're going to a place where there's a decent chance they will find something that they can actually kill and eat, right? So, you know, they're not going to the beach if they're going to hunt wild boar. Presumably, I don't think wild boar live on beaches. You see what I mean? So I think that it's natural for us to imagine the possibilities of things that could go wrong. And then mostly they don't. So there's a case for saying, well, then worst case scenario thinking, maybe that actually works, right? When in which case that's the antithesis of what Law of Attraction is teaching. I want to suggest to you that visualization as a stepping stone to manifesting what you want is not required. And the biggest reason that it's not required is because we do not have to control the universe. We are not sitting like on the deck of the Starship Enterprise or something with all the controls in front of us, pushing buttons or making holographic things appear, whatever it is. Because we don't need to do that. Manifesting is a lot easier than that. So let's talk about the next thing, which is affirmations and positive thinking, the way we actually use our thoughts and our minds. Now, again, for a lot of years, and those of you who know me will know that my background is that I trained in psychotherapy and NLP. And one of the things that NLP teaches, and don't worry if you don't know what it is, one of the things that NLP teaches is that we can control our thoughts. It's up to us or at least we can choose our thoughts. choose our thoughts. NLP will teach you, right? So NLP will say, well, you don't have to be thinking that everything can go wrong. You could be thinking about having a love, the memory of a lovely holiday you had on the beach in the sun. You could. Positive thinking, all of that. I'm a wonderful person. I'm successful. All of that stuff, all of those mantras and stuff. They probably don't hurt, but I don't think they create reality either. And here's the rub. You can't control your thinking, because if I ask you, well, can you tell me what thought you're going to have 10 seconds from now, or 10 minutes, or 10 days, or 10 weeks, or 10 years from now? Of course you can't. Trying to control what our minds do, what thoughts come into our mind, is like saying, I'm gonna only see beautiful things when I open my eyes, even if you've been blindfolded and taken to a place that you don't know. I've unfrozen. Sorry, I froze there for a second. So the gremlins are out. So I was saying, it's like saying, I want to only see beautiful things when I open my eyes. Now, if you've been taken to, blindfolded and taken on a journey and you don't know where you are, when the blindfold is removed, what your eyes will see is whatever is there to see. Whether you consider it beautiful or not, I suppose, is a matter of perception. But eyes just, assuming that you are gifted with the gift of sight, when you open your eyes and there's light, whatever that light falls upon is going to hit the retinas of your eyes, and that's what you will see, whether it's beautiful, ugly, or neutral, or whatever else. You can no more control your thinking than you can control what's in front of your eyes when you open them out of after blindfolding, right? So in other words, your mind is thoughts will come and thoughts will go, in the same way that in the sky, clouds will come and clouds will go. The sun is still there, right? So if you see a dark cloud, you go, that's it. Life is over. The end of the world is nigh. The sun has gone. Which perhaps some early people, maybe they did think that in big storms. Who knows? Eclipses, they certainly had all kinds of superstitions around that. But we know the sun has not gone. There's just something in the way for a while. And the same can happen with our thinking. Our thoughts come and then they'll go again, if we let them go. And that's the key. But you can't choose in advance to think positive thoughts. So what's going to happen is that something will take you off guard and you'll think, oh, that's terrible, or I'm really worried about that, or what am I going to do now? Or something will frustrate you or hurt you or whatever, and then your thinking will be what's classified as negative, which is actually perfectly natural under those kind of circumstances. And we then get into a fight with ourselves because we think, well, if I think negative thoughts, then what I really want isn't going to manifest, or why has this happened when I was trying to manifest that? I can't tell you how many times I had that experience while I was experimenting with the law of attraction. Sorry, I'm just looking for something here I'm going to show you in a second for the next one. So, positive thinking affirmations not only are not required for manifesting, they won't work. Because you can't control what your mind's going to do next. Just let it do its thing, and when a thought comes that feels uncomfortable, I'm not saying ignore it, because it might be, fear is actually quite a good warning that something needs some attention quite often. But you don't have to believe that it's your reality for the rest of eternity. Just as you wouldn't believe that a cloud means the sun is never coming out again and all life on earth is going to wither and die because there's no warmth anymore. That would be ridiculous, right? Thoughts come and thoughts go. Vision comes into your eyes and will go again when it's dark or when you look at another thing or place. Okay, so the third one. Hope I'm making you think about stuff here. So the third one is letting go, detaching from the outcome. Now, the law of attraction talks about this. Some teachers dodge it a bit, but it is in just about every decent teaching of the law of attraction I've ever come across, that you have to, you can want a thing, and then you kind of set your intention, that's going to happen, and then you have to detach from the outcome. Now, when I was studying the law of attraction, when I wanted a thing, I wanted it. it wasn't like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I don't get that. It was like, I really want that. I want that result. I want that situation, that circumstance to manifest in my life. I really want it. And so how to detach from that became, well, a problem, because I knew I wasn't detaching from it, and then I thought, well, I'm not detached from it, and therefore I'm probably going to put the brakes on my own manifestation experience. Oh, and so you can't get out of that loop. So I'm going to use this coin of the realm. It's a 10p piece, British 10p piece, but it doesn't matter, any coin of any realm will do. And I'm grateful to an author of Law of Attraction books who writes some brilliant books, a man called Richard Dotts, Dotts, if you want to check him out on Kindle. It's very, very good, for this analogy, and it just really helped a lot. And he says, look, when you pick up a coin, it has a head and a tail, obviously. Now let's suppose that the head of the coin, we call that your problem or your current situation, the one that you don't want anymore. And the tail we call the solution, which would be, if you're a Law of Attraction student, you think the solution lies in visualizing, affirmations, and all the manifesting techniques that you've learned, and getting them right. You have to get them right, otherwise they don't work. But what Richard Dotts pointed out, and I'm sorry to him if he ever watches or somebody tells him about this, that I cannot remember the title of that particular book. He's written quite a number of them. They're all very good. They're quite short and they're very, very good, and they're all worth reading. But he says you cannot, no matter how hard you try, pick up the tail of a coin, which is your solution, without simultaneously picking up the head. In other words, you can, by focusing on affirmations, visualization, all the Law of Attraction techniques, you are still holding on to the problem. And the only way to deal with that is to let that go. Now, I told you at the beginning of this video that I would give you a huge tip about how to make this work for you. And I'm going to also set you or tell you about a challenge, a 21-day challenge that you can turn this around. Okay? So here's the tip. I want you to think about what it is whenever you want to manifest something. What is it exactly you want to manifest? Now you might. I'm on the other side of a camera, and unfortunately, whatever you're yelling back at me, sadly, I can't hear. Right? But you might be yelling back at the screen, well, I want this person to fall in love with me, or I want a Ferrari, or I want my business to succeed, or I want my spouse not to divorce me, or to divorce me, or whatever, or I want whatever it is, right? The dreams that people have, success, happiness, whatever, right? But that success, happiness, whatever, that little throwaway phrase that I just used there, the clue is in there, because what we actually want, it doesn't matter what label you've given it. The reason that we want something and we desire it so strongly is because we become aware that there's a gap between where we are right now and where we want to be. Now, in a physical world, in our physical world, when there's a gap between the fuel our body needs and the amount of fuel we've got available, we get a signal. It's called hunger, right? When we need more liquid in our bodies, we get thirsty, and so on. Our bodies give us clear signals, and we know what they mean. But when our emotions give us signals, we are not so clear about what they mean. So when we feel a strong sense of desire, we think it means I cannot be happy until I have that person, that car, that home, that amount of money, whatever it is we think we want to manifest. Right? And so the real gap is for happiness. It's for peace of mind, happiness, contentment, fulfillment, whatever label you want to give that. Okay? And so really, no matter what the desire is about, you're only ever chasing more happiness. And here's the tip. It's futile because happiness is already yours. It's built in. And so that's something that I can assure you, but I can't in a short video here take you through, except to say that you can test that hypothesis for yourself, because you know that it's easier to see in children, but you know it for yourself as well. If you see a child throwing a tantrum, no matter how extreme that tantrum is, he or she is not going to be able to sustain that indefinitely. They might be able to keep it going. Some kids are really good at it and they can keep it going for like a day. But eventually they'll exhaust themselves, they'll fall asleep, and when they wake up the next day, it's like it never happened. And we're all like that. Every living creature's like that. Look at, I don't know, puppies, right? No living creature is born unhappy, miserable, worried, frustrated, not liking their appearance, whatever you think is the problem. No one. We're all born naturally happy. It's our natural state. Now, I told you about a challenge. I know that there's a way you can turn this around actually very, very quickly. But I'm going to suggest that 21 days, because it takes a little practice to get used to the ideas, with no techniques, just understanding. And hopefully I've paved the way for you here today. So in the description, if you're watching this on YouTube, below this video, there will be a link that will take you to another page that will explain to you about the 21-day manifestation challenge. And I encourage you strongly to go and have a look at that and to take that challenge. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Click the link, go have a look at the challenge, find out what it's all about, and happy manifesting.